Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is 12 noon. We will call to order the called meeting of the Del Mar College Board of Regents at noon on Tuesday, August 29th. The purpose of this meeting is to take possible action on the Del Mar College maintenance and operations budget and our debt service budget for fiscal year 24. We will dispense with the quorum and the moment of silence and pledge of allegiance, although we do need to note that Mr. Garza did join the meeting as well, about 11:40 earlier this morning. So we're at this point in time, we have an opportunity for general public comment. Is there anyone for general public comment on this portion of the meeting? Seeing none, we will move on to discussion and action related to the order of adoption of the Del Mar College District's budget. Mr. Garcia.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the college has complied with all the legal requirements mandated by the state. I'm sorry, I'm going to rewind here. So the college has complied with the legal requirements as mandated by the state for the purpose of adopting a proposed maintenance and operating and debt service budgets. The college is now asking for the board's consideration the action item to approve the proposed M&O and debt service budgets for fiscal year 2024.
Is there any questions related to the budget? If not, then is there a motion to the order of adoption of the budget as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Krull. Second by Dr. Babley. Any discussion on that motion? Is there any public comment on that motion? If not, all those in favor of adopting the M&O and debt service budget as presented, please raise your hand. Mr. Kelly, please say yay or nay. Oh, he raised his hand. I see that. Thank you. So that is a unanimous vote in favor of adoption. Thank you very much. Next item of business would be discussion action related to the order to conduct our public hearing on the tax rate. Mr. Garcia, are you going to present that?
Yes, I'll kick it off. Next slide, please. Okay, and next slide. Thank you. So, Madam Chair, Mr. President, members of the board, with today's board approval of the 2024 M&O and debt service budget plans, the next action item is the conduit needed to fund, in part, the budget plans. The college is now requesting the board to hold a public hearing in accordance with the Texas Tax Code on the proposed fiscal year 2024 tax rates planned for or scheduled for September 12th. To provide some context on this action item, Mr. John Johnson has prepared a brief property tax and revenue slide deck presentation. This tax information is exactly the same information that was presented at our August 15th board presentation. Following the presentation, there's an action item for the board's consideration.
Okay. Good afternoon. Shown is a tax rate calendar which includes September 3rd, the date the public hearing notice will be published on the college website and local newspaper, and September 12th, the date the public hearing will be held for the adoption of the tax rate and exemptions. Next slide. This slide gives a historical look at the adopted tax rate for the prior 4 years, along with the proposed rate for fiscal year 2024. The far right column shows the tax rate as proposed for fiscal year 2024 of 2.237002, 0.179436 for M&O, and 0.057566 for debt service. The total rate is approximately 2.9 cents lower when compared to the prior rate of 2.266104. The bottom of the slide reflects what amount would be due on an average taxable homestead of $224,353 using the proposed rate. For fiscal year 2024, the amount would be $532, which is $2 below the previous year. Next slide. As shown, total anticipated tax revenues using the proposed rate of .237002 are estimated to be $65,068,806 to support the maintenance and operations budget and $20,788,438 for $438 to pay the upcoming debt service requirement on tax obligation bonds. Are there any questions?
Do you have any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. John Johnson. So next is a board action item for consideration by the board that will allow for the public tax hearing planned for September 12th. If this action item is approved by the board today, the college will publish, in accordance with the Texas Tax Code, the public hearing date and time on our website and in the Caller Times newspaper on Sunday, September the 3rd. That concludes our presentation.
So there is an order, resolution to call for that public hearing. There's a specific language in the motion that the General Counsel has prepared for us. So the chair is looking for a motion that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .237002, which is effectively a 6.06% increase in the tax rate. Is there a motion?
And approval of the order. And approval of the
And
order.
approval of the order as submitted.
I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Bavley. Dr. Bavley. Is there a second to that?
I'll
Second by Mr. Loeb. Any discussion on that motion? Is there any public comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion as read, please raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed, same sign. That motion is adopted unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Garcia and staff.
Thank you.
And the last item on our regular agenda for today is discussion and possible action related to approval of the administration's recommendation for a one-time employee payment and funding source.
Thank you. In the August 15th board meeting, the board was presented with the proposed one-time employee payment. The presentation today reviews this proposal and requests approval from the Board of Regents. Next slide. Thank you. The proposal is all full-time employees that are employed on the day of the payment distribution and have a hire date of September 30th or before will receive a one-time payment through payroll of $1,200 gross. That means before applicable payroll taxes are deducted. All full-time employees that are actively employed on the day of the payment distribution and also have a hire date of September 30th or before will receive a $300 one-time payment through payroll, $300 gross, that is also before payroll taxes are deducted. Next slide. So here's a snapshot that we provided as a given day of active. So we anticipate a little over $1.1 million. The payment would be distributed in October of 2023. Next slide. And as allowed under Del Mar College Policy B4.1.1, Financial Reserve, Section A, administration is recommending the Board of Regents approve the one-time employee payment and use the fiscal year 23 budget contingency line item of a little over $1.7 million to fund this expense.
Thank you, Ms. McDonald. Are there any questions?
I have one question. Are adjuncts included in this?
Yes, all part-time, and adjuncts are considered part-time instruction.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to
Is
adopt?
excuse me,
Yes, sir.
is that contingency amount still there? I mean, that was a contingency based on that there won't be any unforeseen expenditures during FY23.
Yeah, we have to, for the contingency to be used, we have to come to the board and ask to use it.
Yeah, but the question is that money there?
Yes, to answer your question, based on the latest financial statements that were reported, we still have a contingency of $1.7 million for the current fiscal year. So it is available and for this purpose. So, so
okay.
we should be close to breaking even at the end of the year when we close our books. So we're in good shape.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this,
Who made the motion? We were asking for the record. Delia's asking who made the motion.
who made the motion?
Nobody did. I'll make the motion.
Oh, I thought you made the motion.
No.
Thank
It's okay.
you so very much. Back up. We've
I
had
move
some.
to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Loeb. Dr. Babley makes a second to that motion. Thank you very much. We are having all kinds of technical and other kinds of errors today, aren't we? So there is a motion on the floor. Is there any public comment on that motion? We will vote again on the motion made by Mr. Loeb. All those in favor say, raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you all for keeping me straight.
Thank you, Regents.
You just thought this was easy. The board will now go into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071 regarding consultation with legal counsel. The time is 12:11 p.m. All right, we have come out of closed session at 12:57 p.m. There is no action out of our closed session today. In terms of calendaring, our next meeting will be on September 12th. We will have an 11:30 public hearing on the tax rate. We'll do as we did this morning, have a short presentation and then an opportunity for anybody to address the board in that public hearing. And then we will go directly into closed session. And our regular board meeting on the 12th will begin at 1 p.m. Any questions? Anything else for the good of the cause? Thank you very much. We are adjourned at 12:58 p.m.